statements and posts on social media by US President Donald Trump. He was, in fact, the first world leader to call up Prime Minister Narendra Modi. US Vice President J.D. Vance was in India when the attack took place. So he also spoke to Prime Minister Modi. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, he
Yes.
spoke to the Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan, who's
Right.
Ishaq Dar, who's also Foreign Minister of Pakistan.
Correct.
When they spoke, he essentially, said that impartial investigation. India has always painted Pakistan as sort of epicenter of terrorism, and that has, in a way, framed how India has seen the relationship, especially in the last decade and a half, especially after the Mumbai terror attacks, that Pakistan has not taken action.
It has been 6 days since the Pahalgam massacre claimed the lives of 26 people in Jammu and Kashmir. Since then, in the last 1 week, a lot has happened diplomatically and militarily as well. Along the line of control, Pakistan has violated ceasefire for the fourth consecutive day. India has responded befittingly. At the same time, when it comes to diplomacy, Pakistani nationals have gone back via the Atari Wagah border, and similarly, Indians have returned home. India has pulled out of the Indus Waters Treaty, and in retaliation, Pakistan has pulled out of the Simla Agreement and at the same time closed off its airspace to Indian airlines. A lot has happened. However, India Pakistan tensions, especially on Kashmir, becomes a world issue every time it is triggered. And to discuss this, we have with us today the diplomatic editor of the Indian Express, Shubhajit Roy. Hi, Shubhajit.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Shubhajit, we'll start off with all the bigger players. All eyes are on Kashmir. All eyes are on India and Pakistan right now. And as we know, and in your extensive career, you have covered so many times, everyone, every world superpower has a say in it. Starting off, let's discuss who is supporting who, which country is standing with who. Starting off with the United States.
Well, broadly, if you see, the US statements have been of support. They have condemned the terror attack. We've seen, statements and posts on social media by US President Donald Trump. He was, in fact, the first world leader to call up Prime Minister Narendra Modi. US Vice President J.D. Vance was in India when the attack took place. So he also spoke to Prime Minister Modi. Apart from that, the senior leadership, be the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, or FBI chief Kash Patel, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. So this is really the senior leadership of the US administration led by President Trump have expressed support for India and condemned the attack. When we come to the US Congress, I think at last count, at least 70 US members of Congress have also condemned the attack and expressed support, sympathies for people of India.
Right.
Because civilians were involved in this particular terrorist attack. So overall, we have seen a sort of a general support for India and condemnation of the terrorist attack from the United States.
Of course. Now, moving on to China. China has, sort of said that we are ironclad friends, and they have vowed to back Pakistan. So, is China supporting Pakistan in this?
So China's ambassador, he was the first one to post a message on social media where he sort of expressed sympathies on the terror attack. And that was followed up by the Chinese Foreign Ministry, who also said that terrorism, they sort of terrorism has no place, that kind of a framing. And the so China has sort of always been very careful. It is always taken a position where they see any Islamist terror attack as as a challenge because of their own internal political reasons. But we saw yesterday, for example, when the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, he
Yes.
spoke to the Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan, who's
Right.
Ishaq Dar, who's also Foreign Minister of Pakistan.
Correct.
When they spoke, he essentially, said that impartial investigation should take place into the terror attack, and he was sort of following up on the Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's statement on Saturday, where he had said that Pakistan would be open to a neutral, credible probe
Right.
into the terror attack. So essentially asking for a probe, which has been a sort of a standard operating procedure by Pakistan ever since, at least since 26/11, the Mumbai
Right.
terror attacks in 2008. I remember even after 26/11, or then the Pathankot terror attack in January 2016, the same message, same offer was given by the Pakistan government. In fact, Indian government at that point in time, it agreed to a visit by Pakistani officials into the Pathankot base,
Right.
military base, and that was sort of a very unusual step taken by the Indian government as a demonstration of good faith.
Correct.
But nothing sort of happened after that. And after that, the when we saw the Uri terror attack in September 2016 and the Pulwama terror attack in February 2019, Pakistan has always sort of used this trump card,
Yeah.
what you can call, saying that we would like to have a neutral probe, we could like to join in a joint probe, or we would like to have an impartial probe, in various different ways, but essentially, meaning the same thing.
Yes.
But the Indian government has been sort of pretty disappointed at the fact that despite giving evidence and sharing a lot of material and information on previous terror attacks, nothing really substantively has moved in Pakistan.
Correct.
When it comes to bringing those perpetrators to justice. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how this plays out in the next few days and weeks.
Absolutely. But like you mentioned, nothing substantive ever comes out of this. And, we had a lot of the ambassadors and high commissioners visit the MEA past week also, where the Indian government laid out details and laid out evidence linking Pakistan to these terror attacks. How do you see Pakistan defending itself in this and asking for a neutral probe in this context?
Well, firstly, when the last week, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, he first called ambassadors of G20 countries and some more strategic partners, their ambassadors, to come to South Block, the Ministry of External Affairs, and brief them about what India had by then. And then subsequently, Foreign Secretary as well as other officials also briefed other ambassadors from other foreign countries. So I think overall more than 70 countries have already been briefed, or number could be a bit more.
Yes.
So far, all the important countries have definitely been briefed, including China and United States, of course. And the message in that meeting was that India has material, it has technical intelligence, it has some credible information from its intelligence agencies, and some critical eyewitness accounts,
Correct.
which establish the Pakistani link. If you remember, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, when he laid out India's retaliatory steps in terms of diplomatic steps, putting on hold the Indus Water Treaty or reducing the diplomatic presence or cancelling the visas of Pakistani nationals, he said cross-border linkages,
Yes.
so essentially without naming sort of Pakistan, it was making it clear. So the Indian government has sort of tried to brief the international community based in India, the foreign ambassadors, that India has, as per preliminary probe, it has found some information based on the technical surveillance, intelligence, and human intelligence, as well as some high witnesses, that Pakistan link is being established.
Correct.
Now, it is now we'll have to see, and after that, we have seen a series of sort of diplomatic steps have also been laid out, some before and some after as well.
Yeah.
And so that is where the Indian diplomatic steps have been. Pakistan has not been named or accused specifically by the Indian government so far
Okay.
in this Pahalgam terror attack.
Okay.
And I think we are still away from the situation when that evidence or critical information has not yet been shared with Pakistan as yet.
Correct.
In the Pahalgam terror attack. Having said that, in the past, as we know, in Pulwama or Mumbai terror attack in 2008, the Pathankot terror attack in 2016, Uri terror attack again in 2016, and Pulwama terror attack in 2019, Indian government has shared information, evidence, but nothing has moved there, except for some tokenism. Sometimes the leaders of terror groups or some terror activists have been arrested or house arrested, but they've been again let out on bail. So none of the top leaders of these terror outfits are in jail or sort of in captivity.
Correct.
And have not faced the full force of law as demanded by India and as is expected from Pakistan. So that is the expectation from Indian side, that the Pakistan must act on these terror groups and terror leaders of these terror groups and activists and operatives of these terror groups in the past. And as and when the Pahalgam terror attacks information and credible information and evidence emerges, we'll see how India presents it to Pakistan and what course is taken forward.
Absolutely. But Shubhajit, in all of this, where does it put Pakistan on a global stage? What happens to its credibility?
I think India has always painted Pakistan as sort of epicenter of terrorism, and that has, in a way, framed how India has seen the relationship, especially in the last decade and a half, especially after the Mumbai terror attacks, that Pakistan has not taken action against the terror groups, the terror infrastructure. And India has always asked for credible, verifiable action against these groups. And till it does so, it sees it as a sort of a source of anti-India terrorist infrastructure, which conducts terror activities in India. And this time, I think that sort of a red line has been crossed by attacking civilians in Kashmir, the bloodiest terror attack against civilians since 26/11 in India has taken place in Kashmir, in Pahalgam, because 26 tourists were sort of killed in this, which includes 25 Indians and one Nepalese national.
Right. Shubhajit, In the midst of all this, now India has stopped the Indus Waters Treaty, and at the same time, Pakistan has sort of pulled back on the Simla Agreement. Where do you see this sort of standoff moving now?
In the we have to see, these. So India has taken a series of steps. As you said, it has sort of set aside the Indus Water Treaty. It has cancelled visas of Pakistan nationals except for those on long-term visas, diplomatic visas, and official visas.
Right.
Rest everyone has to go back. And it has also reduced the diplomatic strength, which was reduced from 110 people to 55 in 2019, and then from 55 to 30 now.
Right.
So there are 30 Indian diplomats and officials and staffers in Islamabad, and 30 Pakistani diplomats, officials, and staffers in Delhi. So all this put together is aimed to convey sort of to Pakistan that all is not well and they need to take corrective steps. We have to see what the government decides in terms of other options, in terms of kinetic options and military options that if at all they are discussing. As of now, it's a sort of rollout of these diplomatic steps is underway right now, and as and when the time comes, I think the government will decide what kind of other steps, military options, if
Right.
it needs to take and it wants to take.
Absolutely. And we spoke about US, we spoke about China. What do you think will be the stand of major powers such as, let's say, a Russia or a Middle East or even a Europe in this case? Because everyone has condemned the attacks, of course.
So everyone has condemned the attacks, and that's where they are right now. And Saudi Arabian foreign minister, he has spoken to both Indian and Pakistani foreign ministers. The British foreign secretary has also spoken to the both foreign ministers. So they're all trying to see that tension don't escalate. So that is in the interest of the other countries and also in interest of India and Pakistan. So I think that's where we are. But more or less, everyone has condemned the attack.
Of course. So do you think that this is a wait and watch right now?
That's right. We have to see what steps India takes, follows through now, and the next steps, what India takes.
Absolutely. So that was the diplomatic editor of the Indian Express. And the word of the expert is it's a wait and watch right now as the critical simmering tensions between India and Pakistan continue. Express viewers, thank you for watching us. You can read all of Shubhajit Roy's articles on the official website of the Indian Express and keep watching for more updates, the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express.